what's the first skill you told them to master?
Research. You have to research. Research your competitors, research the industry, research the audience.
So Mohamed, if this was your last message to the youth, what would that message be? So what first drew you to marketing?
What drew me to marketing?
Yeah.
The official answer
Yeah.
is it's an amazing career. The unofficial answer, which is the true one, I didn't want to do medicine, I didn't want to do legal, I didn't want to do engineering, and I got 99. So I went down the list and marketing was next.
You've led marketing for brands across social media, finance and health. What are some principles that stay the same no matter the industry?
No matter the industry, there's a few principles that are the same regardless.
Yeah.
That is, you got to know your audience. Whether you're marketing a massive conglomerate or you're marketing a small burger shop, you got to know who the audience is. And so you got to research, you got to immerse yourself in marketing. Let me tell you something. One of my first jobs was working at Johnson & Johnson a couple of decades ago. They had this concept called Shopper Safari.
Yeah.
I had the same thing when I used to work at McDonald's in marketing.
Yeah.
And that was for once a month, we used to have to go and work at McDonald's and understand the customer. And on the Johnson & Johnson side, I used to have to go and sit with one of the female shoppers. Just they would hire them for the day. I would have to go to their house from the morning, spend the whole day with them, shop with them, and understand their psyche. So regardless of the industry, you need to understand your audience well.
Okay, mashallah. Wallah. Was there a campaign or brand project that changed your view on marketing forever?
Absolutely. Really early on, I realized if you're going to make big, glossy ads, spend $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, you're going to have to spend that much and 10 times more to actually get that ad out there. Yeah. So what I realized really early, I remember once, early days, I was working at McDonald's in marketing. And it was my first major television commercial project. And so I'm really excited. So I rock up to the place where we're shooting the ad. And it was at a football park. I get there and I see hundreds of people midweek. And I'm like, I'm at the wrong place. So I call my boss saying, I think I'm lost. Yeah. There's a big carnival happening. And she says to me, no, you're in the right place. We've hired every single person. They even hired the dog on that day. And that was like, oh my God, is this how big they go? It was like $300,000, $400,000 TVC. But one thing I realized early on, if you're going to spend big on a TVC, on an ad, you're going to have to spend much bigger on the media plan. So I keep telling brands, anyone who asks me, the bigger, the glossier you are, the more you're going to have to spend. Yeah. People are not used to these big TVCs anymore. Unless you have a huge budget to promote yourself in cinemas and on TV and wherever else you want to promote yourself, don't create the glossy ads. Go simpler, go quicker, and because the market's much more fragmented, create more content, but more consistently.
Beautiful answer. And now another question is, a lot of young Muslims, they think marketing is just content. Define real marketing.
Okay, what I say to people is, if you've got two businesses side by side, call it a burger shop, and they're both doing the same burger, the same Wagyu grade, the same cheese, same sauce, why is this one succeeding and that one is not? So you got to think as a brand, what are all the things I need to think about that regardless of price and placement, people are going to choose me over my next door neighbor. That's all marketing. So it's how you behave, it's what you look like, it's the price, it's your behavior, it's everything except the actual product itself. The product is a non-negotiable. It's got to be a good one regardless.
Yeah. And in your experience, what separates average marketers from great ones?
What separates average marketers from phenomenal ones, in my experience, it's been their ability to immerse themselves in the audience and in the industry. You can sit there on your couch and try to do a campaign, fine, but you're not going to go too far. You need to understand your audience. You need to go deep and don't rush. Yeah. I keep telling anyone who asks me, don't rush to go and create a campaign. Yeah. Understand your audience. Go sit with them. Go talk to them. Understand your competitors. Okay. So The best marketers are those who spend the time, the boring stuff.
Yeah.
It's the boring stuff that counts. Understanding your audience. They spend time researching their clients, researching their competitors, and researching their audience.
Beautiful, mashallah. How should a small Muslim business approach building a brand in today's digital world?
When you're creating a brand, especially in a digital space, you got to think about all the touch points that really count.
Yep.
How do I create credibility if I'm not going to spend tens of thousands of dollars in ads? You can do that,
Yeah.
and if you do that, you'll generally be okay. You get the leads, etc. But if I don't have $100,000, $200,000 to spend in ads and get an ad agency and do that consistently, what are the other things I can do? So my experience across every single sector that I've worked in, one thing works that is relatively cost effective, and that is getting people to sample your product.
Okay.
Okay, so whether it's a burger shop, or whether it's a service, a marketing agency, or whether you're a news agency, if you get people to try your product for free and somehow get in front of them, they're more likely to actually engage in your product. So if there's a way through your industry to actually get people to taste and test,
Yeah.
that's actually a cost-effective
Okay.
pathway.
So Mohamed, with your experience, what's your thought process or your framework when creating a campaign from scratch?
I probably sound like a broken record,
Yeah.
but before you even put pen to paper on the campaign concept,
Yeah.
you've got to research your audience. Understand what their problem is. What are they thinking? Number one. Number two, get inspiration from other players in your industry, but also look at other industries for inspiration.
Yeah.
And then finally, what sets you apart? Make sure you sit down and think, okay, what do I want them to think about my product or service compared to the others? Then you put pen to paper.
What's one business or branding mistake that you see entrepreneurs make all the time?
One mistake I find most people do when trying to market their product is they rush to creating ads.
Yeah.
Before you go and create your ad, especially the big, fat, glossy ones,
Yeah.
spend time to understand your audience and your positioning in the market. They don't do that enough.
And many young Muslims feel stuck with their ideas, but they don't know how to act. What advice would you give to them?
Yeah, I get this question a lot.
Yeah.
People ask me, okay, I have this great idea. So many people have great ideas. They fall off trees.
Yeah.
But before you rush to go and implement your idea, if you want something that's actually going to move the needle, you need to immerse yourself in an industry, especially marketers. The problem with marketing people, and I have that problem, is that you get so much exposure into so many industries and you think you have the great idea that's going to transform that industry. What I will tell you, before you articulate your strategy, immerse yourself in the industry that you want to innovate. You can innovate by sitting on your couch and say, you know what, I'm going to come up with a new idea for a burger shop. You can do that. But if you work for 2-3 years in a burger shop, you're going to find new things that no one else will know about that industry. And because you have the marketing spark, you'll innovate. So my message to people that want to kind of create a new business or a new idea, the deeper you go in an industry, the more successful that idea is going to be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just thinking from the peripheries and everyone else has that idea as well.
That's true, mashallah. And for the 20-year-old that's watching this and wants to build something impactful, what's the first skill you told them to master?
Research. You have to research. Research your competitors, research the industry, research the audience. If you're in your 20s, like you can innovate now and few people actually create a unicorn in their 20s.
Yeah.
They're very, very few. What you want to do is spend the hard yards, call it 10,000 hours, that's one of the rules, 10,000 hours in the industry to figure it out and then innovate. Okay. So before you create a go-to-market strategy, understand the industry.
Okay, beautiful, mashallah. So Mohamed, as you know, marketing can be full of hype and manipulation. How do you keep it authentic and values driven?
Hype and noise is very much part of the marketing industry. You can't get away from it. You need to be the loudest person in the room. But what I would say is, so long as your product holds up, if you're authentic and your product does what you're promising it will do, then go for gold.
Yeah.
But for as long as you're talking about something and your product is substandard, then absolutely that's an ethical problem.
You've done the marketing for the World Cup in 2022. How was that?
So about 6 months out of the World Cup in Qatar, I get a call from Sheikh Al Mayassa's office, the sister of the Emir. She is a chairperson of Qatar Museums, saying that the whole marketing team is being put aside and they're looking for a marketing person to come and lead the group and recreate a marketing team.
Yeah.
I did not expect this. It was Ramadan, I remember. I called my mate here in Sydney saying, do you want to head off to Qatar? Just to be clear, it wasn't to market the games. That was a FIFA project. Yeah. My job was to market the cultural sector. So all the museums, the festivals, and anything related to the Qatari identity. So over 6 months, we hired 120 people, hired the biggest and greatest agencies that we could get our hands on. We worked with the David Beckhams to create the big glossy ads. I did everything I'm proud of, but a lot of things that I look back and say, you know what, we could have done that better. What worked? It was the small things that worked, not the big, great glossy ads and billboards. Everyone does that. It was the small things. And one of the things, and that's why I keep saying, immerse yourself in the industry. One of the things we did, which was so simple, but moved the lever, which is we owned the ticketing process for most of the cultural locations.
MashaAllah.
And that data, so anyone that was putting in, buying a ticket, anyone that was putting in their Wi-Fi password, trying to access the Wi-Fi at a lobby, we had all of that data. And so we were marketing to them. And so that's one thing I would say to your audience. First party data is worth 10 times more all the data you get on social or on Google. First party data is where it's going. So you need to build that audience directly. Get their email addresses, get their phone numbers authentically. Don't go and steal them or buy them from your cousin.
Yeah. What's the importance of first party data?
First party data is where it's at. You can go and spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in advertising on Meta, on Google, but guess what? You're going to have to continue doing that if that's your strategy.
Yeah.
But getting first party data, getting people's email addresses, phone numbers, WhatsApps, whatever, you own that. Yeah. And so you're able to engage with the audience directly. So it's so important. The other thing is, it might cost a bit at the beginning to build that, and it's a long road to build that database, and there's many ways you can do that, but it's a lot more cost effective longer term because you're talking to the customer directly, not through an intermediary where you're bidding against other brands.
Looking back on your career, is there a moment where you stopped and said, Alhamdulillah, this is exactly where I want to be?
So I'm on a journey and I've always looked at the road ahead and there's always more I want to achieve, but generally speaking, Alhamdulillah, I've had the opportunity to work client side and also agency side.
Yeah.
And so I feel like over the years I've gained that experience and I'm pretty happy of where I'm at.
So Mohamed, if this was your last message to the youth, what would that message be?
I have to think about that.
That's okay, now take your time.
You know, I'm so grateful that we belong to this religion because there's one principle in this religion that trumps anything. And that is that we're rewarded for our intention. We're not actually rewarded for the outcome. The outcome's in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hands. So long as your intention is good and you sincerely want to improve things for others, then you get the reward. And so long as you're hustling with the right intention, all's good.
Inshallah, beautiful answer. One last question. All right, Mohamed, you've got 60 seconds to drop a marketing masterclass. What would the advice be?
So my answer's got to be 60 seconds?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? But that's what this is?
It's like a short, master.
All right, marketing plan in 60 seconds. First 30 seconds, you got to focus on your audience. Who is your customer? And then focus on your competitor. What are they doing? And then look at inspiration from other industries, but other industries that are actually targeting your customer. Learn that really, really well. Once you do that, make sure you design your product or a sub-product that's superior to anyone else. You've got to do that. Whether that's through pricing, whether that's through the product features, do that. That's also part of marketing, really important.
Yeah.
Then the last thing is all about the product mix, the marketing mix. Where are you going to advertise? Who are your influencers going to be? How do I collect first party data? All of that is really critical. But I would say the first half is 10 times more important than all of the advertising. Too many people think about this side, which is the advertising, but everyone does that. it's this that is where the magic happens.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khairan.
Wow.
I think one of my favorite interviews, wallah.
Yeah, I want to ask 5, 6.
Yeah.